Coach, after this game, especially with it being your 100th win, one, what's that like? And two, if you could pinpoint just what you've learned throughout that, such a huge milestone, right, in your second season, how would you summarize that?
I mean, I told the guys, I think it's something to be proud of, something to be grateful for, and it's just a testament to the people that you have around you. And so I think in a business of where individual success is highly talked about on a nightly basis, like, you know, the box scores and stuff like that, to have a group of people that you can share in your success with is important. And so can't get to this point, and it really starts with the players. And I always tell them I can't be who I am if they don't let me, and I appreciate that. And that's a gift in coaching. You can always be in a situation to where you don't have empowerment or you don't have guys that allow you to be yourself. And it's an important gift that the players give me, and they give it to each other. And I think that's important for us to continue to grow in. So I'm grateful for that.
Joe, you've talked about holding yourself to a high standard this year and, you know, being tough on yourself. When you've reached the level that you guys have as a team in the first half, how do you go into the second half? Like, I know you have the list of things and the deadline you're going to be focusing on. How do you hold that high bar when you reach the heights that you did in the first half?
No, I mean, I think, listen, these two games, these are probably two of the hardest games to play in the NBA as a back-to-back right before the All-Star break, you know, and I thought our guys handled both of those games really, really well. And I thought, especially tonight, you couldn't tell the score of the game based on our effort. And you can't take stuff like that for granted because the other side of the coin is we didn't play hard, we took them lightly, you know, and so, like, you got to appreciate the nights where you do your job and you do what you're supposed to do. And we did that from start to finish, and it's because of the players, you know, the standard that they hold themselves to. And, you know, it's just really about those guys.
And you inserted Jordan in the first quarter. What made you feel like this is a good night to insert him into the regular rotation, and what did you see from out there?
You know, I've been getting, I think since Christmas, he came on the West Coast trip with us. We made a conscious effort to just have an understanding of, like, defense is how you make it in this league as a young player. And, you know, what you do in the G League from a statistical standpoint is important, but it's more important about your daily approach, your professionalism, and your defense. And I think he's just really, really grown in that area. And in the games I've watched and the feedback from Maine and his approach here with us, his defense has drastically improved. And so I think it's an opportunity to give a young guy a chance, especially in a game where you're looking for energy, you know it's going to be a team win, and you're down a couple guys. And so I really like the way he's approached the defensive side of the ball.
Joe over here. Jordan got called for that split travel off the dribble. I feel like that's a great unifier for all rookies. They always get called and stuff like that. How do you help these guys get used to just the way the game is called and just the speed that it moves at when they're not getting that many reps at the high level?
Yeah, shoot the ball. You can't travel if you shoot it. So that's what I told him.
Joe, any update on Kristaps?
No, he was good. He told me he was fine. So, yeah.
You talk about, like, the narratives and all of that stuff and how much you hate them, but
I don't hate them.
Well, okay. Well, dislike.
Well, they, you know,
are annoyed by?
I am annoyed by the narrative because I think you can either talk yourself into something or you can talk yourself out of something. And so you got to be very careful about the words you use to yourself and around you. So I think it's important. Our guys have done a good job of controlling the words we speak to each other about what's important, you know?
Is there any satisfaction in actually, like, coming out in the good side of the narrative, like you did what you're supposed to do and all of that stuff?
So I think like I said, I think you have to appreciate that. You can't take that for granted because the other side of the coin is we didn't. And, you know, in my 5 years here, there's been a couple games like the night before All-Star where we've played well, and there's been a couple where we haven't. And so because the expectations are so high, I think we do have to take a moment and appreciate that. Like, we did what we were supposed to do. And it's a credit to them. So, yeah, I definitely think you have to be able to enjoy that because if you don't, then it's always going to feel like the other side of the coin or nothing's ever, you know, good enough. And I think that's healthy. But that's what I told the guys in there. Like, don't take for granted. And to me, it was like the effort we played with the entire game. It was easy to just, like, you know, we lost to Brooklyn by 28 last year. We were up by 28 in the first half, and we lost. And so you just can't take that stuff for granted. And so I thought the way we played from beginning to end kind of showed that.
Final couple questions, Gary and then Jen.
Joe, with no games for the next week, all these outside voices are going to be, like, talking about your team and their review. Is it a positive that you guys are just ending on the first half on such a positive note that, you know, everyone goes home now, no losses, you know, like just a good winning streak, taking care of business. It just seems like even though it's one game or two games, the last two, it gives everybody like a collectively good feeling going wherever they're going for the next week.
Yeah, I think that's just as dangerous as going into it on a losing streak. Like, you know, you just said the words good feeling. Like, if you can't operate by feeling. And so regardless of if we lost tonight and won 5 out of 6 or won 6 out of 6, you know, you have a tendency to relax. You have a tendency to put it in cruise control. And, you know, so winning is just as dangerous as losing if you don't handle it the right way. So I think it's just more about guys reconnecting with their families, taking care of their bodies, and enjoying their time off. I think that's important for guys to be able to do. But when we come back, it's like we got to reconnect and reestablish what we're doing. So whether you're going with a 6-game losing streak or a 2-game losing streak, both situations can be unhealthy if you don't handle them properly.
And how do you tell your guys to deal with prosperity?
I mean, I don't necessarily tell them. I think we just kind of talk about it. I think a sign of growth was tonight, the way we played, top to bottom. Like I said, you give up you know how it is because of our expectation. If we come out and give up a 35-point quarter, or if it's tied at halftime, it's a completely different situation. And so we have to appreciate the way we played the entire game. And I think it kind of starts with that, you know.
Joe, Tatum and D. White wore headbands today at halftime. Derek White said, you know, JT said he wanted to wear one. I said I'd rock with him. You recently talked about the importance of like having fun while they're also locked in. It seems small, but like this is a team, a lot of new pieces this year. You've had half the year. You've had pretty successful first half of the year. How important is that, you know, this team getting together off the court and just being willing to have fun while they're also playing?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, you know, it's a concept that I think is important. Sometimes fun can be looked at as a distraction, but I think the ability to have fun and build togetherness and compete at a high level is important for the guys, and so it builds a level of connection. But, you know, regardless if those guys wear headbands or not, they're going to compete every night, so that's really all that matters, as long as they do it together, you know.
I saw someone on Twitter said they wish you wore a headband on the sideline. You not
Me?
Not a headband guy.
No, I was in college. Yeah, I think I wore one. I wore one in high school.
Not seen on the sidelines anytime soon.
No, but that makes me think about how each coaching realm is like different. How like the baseball managers wear their jerseys, and then you know, hockey wears suits. Like football, they get to wear hats. Like I'd like to wear a hat and a hoodie on the sideline, but you know, apparently that's like not allowed for whatever reason.
Good way to wrap it up, everybody.
Thanks.
All right, Chris Daps and Derek and